being at school is hard, you know what I mean? It's a lot of stress, and life doesn't stop because you're in varsity, college, or you're pursuing a diploma or whatever. Life is still happening, and you're still required to hand in things. You're still required to, you know, study for tests. But like you have all of these other things that are still happening around you, and you're still required to stay focused. And a lot of the time, it's like, is it worth it? So yeah. Okay, and the sixth tip I would say is troubleshoot early. So this one is a bit of a big one because it really helps to identify when you're having issues academically or personally for that matter, and approach people who can help you. It's one of the things that I'm still learning to be like, okay, I need help, I need to go to a tutor, I need to go to someone who can assist me with this assignment, or with this essay or whatever. It really helps, and I think it's one of the things that as students we struggle to do, is to admit that we're drowning academically and go and get help quickly before things turn really bad and before you fail the course or whatever. And if you're having personal problems, that's another thing that I found. If I'm really busy outside of school and I can't submit something on time, it's been so helpful to me to just be like to a tutor or a lecturer, look, I have this and this going on right now and I don't think I'll be able to make the deadline. And usually they will extend it for you. Like, it'll depend with your course, it'll depend with your your teaching staff at your institution or whatever, but a lot of the time they are more understanding than we give them credit for. So I would really suggest that you try and troubleshoot early if there are problems that you're facing at school. Number 7 is make use of financial assistance. Now, this is a huge issue which comes up a lot. School, in addition to being very difficult, is very expensive, and it's hard to sort of afford getting a qualification. So sometimes it's really helpful for you to find out what financial assistance there is at your institution. I'm an international student, and if you're a foreign student, they don't have as much financial assistance like bursaries or scholarships and stuff, or loans for us. So, and it makes sense, but it makes it very difficult for you to stay in school, and it's one of the reasons, if not the biggest reason, why people drop out of school, is because they can't afford it, not because they're not smart enough or whatever. So just really doing your research even before you go to a school. How can they help you financially? And if the school itself can't help you, there may be organizations that may be giving assistance. There may be companies, there may be corporations, there may be, you'd be surprised how much help there is out there, but you have to look for it. It's not always easy. You have to look for it, you have to apply for it, but it's well worth it, I think, because if you know that your financial issues are sorted, then you can just focus on your academic issues. That being said, I do suggest that don't let a lack of funding affect your grades, or try not to. It's difficult because obviously if you're stressing about, am I even going to be here, am I even going to be able to pay for fees, you can't really study. That has been something that I've had to struggle with as well. But what I try to do is just say, Gloria, get the grades, and then you do your part and God will do the rest, and it'll all sort of fall into place, hopefully. A lot of the times it does, sometimes it doesn't. But financial issues, a lot of the times, especially if you're a student, if you're not funding yourself, or if you're not going to work, if you're relying on someone else, your parents or a guardian or whoever, to give you money to go to school, it's out of your hands if that money is no longer there, So you just have to do your part, which is get those grades, and then it opens up doors for you other channels of finding scholarships and stuff like that. But you can only do that if you have good grades. And even if you have all the money but you don't have grades, you're still in a bind. So I would say try to focus your main priority, let it be your grades, especially if you are relying on someone else to fund your studies. If you're funding your own studies, that's really, really difficult, because you're trying to think of how am I going to make money to go to school, as well as I need to study and all of that stuff, and time issues come into play and all of that stuff. But it's just something that you really need to think about and you can't avoid. And it's just one of those tips that I thought I have to put this in there, because school costs money and you can't go to school without it. So yeah, make time for yourself and the things that you love to do. So for me, it's really, really helped to just do stuff that's not school related and still be passionate about other things other than what I'm actually studying. Those are some of the opportunities that I was talking about earlier, about rethinking your education, that you come across when you come to varsity. Continue to pursue those things that you love to do outside of school. Continue to read things other than excuse me, other than the books that you actually get or the notes that you actually get. Read things to enrich your mind, not just for studying purposes. Go out, go back home. If you live far away from home, I think that's a really, really good way to center yourself. It's also a really, really good way to, depending on where you come from, to remind you why you're working as hard as you work, why you're going to school. Every time I go back to Zim, I'm like, okay, I need to go back and get those grades and get that degree so I can, have a better life for myself, and I can go back and I can create a better life for my community. So I think doing things that are outside of school, that are, take you out of that little bubble, really, really will help you stay in school and will help you appreciate that other part of your life, the academic part of your life, when you're doing things that are not so academic. Remember why you started. Remember the things that motivate you, or the reason why you wake up in the morning to go to classes, because some people find it very difficult to do that, to do just that, just wake up and go to classes and do their assignments. I think it's important to just remind yourself constantly, like, I love what I'm doing and I'm doing it for ABC reasons. So, especially during exam time, for example, you have a whole bunch of notes to get through. It's 3 a.m, you're tired, you're over it, you're just like, why am I here? I don't even want to be a lawyer, an engineer, a doctor. I don't want to do this anymore. Why I'm wasting time. I could just quit school, I could get a job today and probably have more experience than a person who finishes school. Like, you just feel like quitting sometimes. And when you remember and when you keep close to your heart what it is that inspires you, why it is you wanted to be a lawyer, an engineer, a doctor, an accountant, a designer, an artist, a dancer, whatever it is you're studying, if you just remember, the things that motivate you, I think that really helps, and that wakes you up in the morning every day, and it becomes more than just just going through the motions, and you actually start to enjoy doing what you're doing. You start to see the long-term goal. Just keep those reasons close, remember them, and remind yourself of them every so often, especially when you are feeling down and out and just are done, because everyone goes through those moments, I think, and we don't talk about it enough, about the stresses of actually sort of being at school is hard, you know what I mean? It's a lot of stress, and life doesn't stop because you're in varsity. Life doesn't stop because you're in university, or you're in a college, or you're pursuing a diploma or whatever. Life is still happening, and you're still required to hand in things. You're still required to, study for tests. But life happens, and you have relationships, and you have family, and you have all of these other things that are still happening around you, and you're still required to stay focused. And a lot of the time it's like, is it worth it? So yeah. And finally, work hard. that's my final tip, only because I think every degree requires work. Every degree requires work. I don't care what you're doing, and it doesn't even have to be a degree. If you are learning how to cook, if you are at culinary school, if you are at art school, if you are at a local beauty school, getting a diploma in, you know, hair care or whatever, you know what I mean? If you're learning something that you didn't know before, you're learning something that you didn't know before, you know. And I think it's going to require work. It's going to require you to sit and study. It's going to, or, you know, practice, or whatever, you know, whatever is required for you to have that skill. It's going to require some time. And if you don't take that time, then you're just not going to get the qualification. It's just that simple. So you have to work hard. You have to work hard. You have to put in the hours, put in the sweat, put in the tears. You know, the grind has to go in, because it's the only way that you will get whatever qualification you're trying to get. So those are my tips, you guys. I hope that they motivate someone. Some of these videos, I think they're more for myself than for other people, but if they help someone, then that's amazing. And they encourage someone to stay in school or give you that extra push, then I will be very, very happy. So I hope you find them helpful, and I hope that we all stay in school. And oh yeah, tell me if you like these kind of videos. I don't know, this is kind of weird for me. I've never done anything like this before, obviously, so I don't know how it will be received. I'm not exactly a super genius, you know, but I'm passionate about school. I actually really enjoy going to class and stuff and reading and stuff, so I'm a nerd like that. And I just thought I would make videos about stuff that I actually love, so that, you know, my channel is genuine. So tell me if you like the video. Like the video down below, comment, tell me what you're studying, tell me where you're studying and how it's going, or, you know, whatever you're pursuing. And tell me, also give tips on how you stay motivated to stay in school. And hopefully we can all share and have a good conversation in the comments below. So I will see you in my next one. Bye.